Okay, folks, here we go.
Here we go. Let's have a good show. 1B, stand by.
Yeah.
Yacht,
Take it at midfield. Just go right now. Go to camera 3. 3. Go to the gate. Perfect. Just like that.
I'll just go ahead.
Yep. Graphics 2 is going to be up for the first.
Okay.
Go right there. Go to camera 3. Go. Yep.
Can you
Go to the gate. Just like that. No music.
I'm going to hand to Q. Sophie.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it.
On radio in the Canal Zone.
All right, guys, mic check.
Go ready.
Okay, Ricky, mic.
Yep, I am ready.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Willie, mic check.
Yep, let's go.
1B, stand by.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6,
5,
4, 3, 2, 1, and we're live.
Okay, and go for it, guys.
Back to my Panama days. Yes, indeed, guys. We are back to our Panama days every Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific time, and 7 p.m. Canal Zone time. So it's happy hour at the Balboa Yacht Club with my cohort out west, Ricky Royo. How's it going, Ricky?
Hey, Willie, good to see you again. Our weekly podcast. Again, everybody, hello and welcome everyone to our beloved happy hour at the Balboa Yacht Club. As you can see, we're at the bar, actually.
Yes, we are indeed.
Quick toaster, had a little dry mouth there. I'm Ricky Royo, and to my left is my partner, Willie Benninghoff, both of us born and raised in the Canal Zone, Panama, a.k.a. Paradise on Earth, and home to the eighth wonder of the world. And Willie, also home to the world's mango heads. This time I got it right.
You did.
To all the mango heads, all of the mango heads, guys who are out there who don't know who the mango heads, we are all Zonians and anybody else that follows Shorty and Slim's music.
Yes.
Also known as Zonian folklore music. Now, Willie, it's easy to confuse us with the parrot heads, because Jimmy Buffett and the Canal Zone are synonymous. Same lifestyle. I mean, the guy, the music he wrote, it was the Canal Zone lifestyle, right?
Indeed, it was.
So it's easy to consider us as parrot heads, but
he could have easily been an honorary Zonian for sure.
Honorary Zonian. Now remember, Willie Panama also has 10 different types of parrots. Speaking of parrot heads, right?
Right.
We go from the scarlet macaws, which you and I were both on a macaw baseball team in our teens, Fastlich baseball, all the way down to the crimson fronted parakeets, which if you guys remember in the Canal Zone, man, those guys would come through our neighborhood, 30, 40, 50 of them.
Sure.
Screaming as loud as they can, and of course all types of parrots. I
remember when I lived on Amador Road, the Winklers lived. They lived on the house when you got to the traffic light to turn to go onto the bridge. That house there, had that one house, then a little field there, and then the overpass for the
that rail field, right?
They lived in that house there, and they had a humongous cage. It was probably 10 foot by 10 foot by 10 foot, and they had two macaws.
I think I remember that. A lot of people had those.
Yes.
But Willie, in my family, 2 different times we had parrots, and both times, one my sister caught. I don't know how she caught. The other one was hurt, and I was coming back Wednesday night from the pool. Right. I had a wet towel, and I threw it over it, and that's how I caught it. But we've had 2 parrots. I mean, having a parrot in Latin America is
synonymous, man.
Synonymous, right? Everybody has a parrot.
Yes,
and then you teach it how to sing. But I'll tell you what, every single parrot, the chance they get to leave, poof, they take off, man.
Right?
Both of our parrots took off.
And you know what they do? They hang around in the neighborhood. You'll always hear the trees, and you can know that that's them. And they're like, I'm here, man, but I ain't going back in there.
Right. They hang around, and then they take off with whatever, group comes by and then takes them in. But anyways,
and then the Vogt family in Los Rios, they had a monkey.
Jerry Curtis had a monkey too.
Yeah,
we had a little spider monkey, those little tiny ones.
Leaf, good to see you down in Panama.
Yeah, guys.
Back to his Leaf's down there taking care of his mom. Of course, praying for your mom and that everything turns out okay. Steve talked to him in Georgia. Yeah, we got a great show tonight, guys. It's unfortunately we had to
Whopping Chris.
We had to switch things up a little bit. There is Chris. What's going on, Chris? Chris and I did a webinar last week on Wednesday night on this Texacoin opportunity. Really cool turned out pretty good. It was our first go around, you know, and so we've got some ideas on some future shows, but we got quite a few views on it, and this Texas coin thing is it's blowing up.
I'm
man.
banking my retirement on this, not banking everything on it.
Well,
But I am part of my retirement plan is this Texas coin investment we're doing. You know,
Well, and one of the keys to this is that it's mining crypto, Texas coin in particular, but you're crowdsourcing or you're crowdfunding this mining operation, right? In other words, you're not buying miners that you bring in and set up at home with all these computers and all this hardware. You're actually crowdfunding this thing. But there is one caveat. They're limiting the number. And once they reach 1 million nodes of miners, and 1 million nodes is not 1 million miners, okay? 1 million nodes is basically 1 million of these packs that you can to mine coin with. I'm at this point, I have 10 nodes, and I started out with 3. But the point is, once they hit that 1 million, there's not going to do it anymore as far as offering the opportunity to mine. And therefore, now whoever has them, they're yours now for the next 135
well, those
years.
are like the early Bitcoin investors that are
but
now
the difference is like
uber
Bitcoin,
rich guys.
But you can still jump into Bitcoin now and mine. Of course,
really?
it's a gigantic
super
mountain, and the price is so high that the effort you put in, you're lucky that if you make $2 or $3 a week, you're lucky. Okay, unless you're one of the ones that happens to strike one of those, basically a lottery number on it. So with Texas coin though, it is limited. In other words, once you hit those miners, nobody else can join. So the other night on one of the meetings with the founder, they were talking about, based on the way it's growing, right? And the numbers that last week when it spiked to $6, you know, we added, I think, 2,000 or 3,000 miners in just a matter of hours.
Guys, by the way, this is our sponsor. That's why we're talking about it.
Yes. Well, it is. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because the latest that they've put out as far as projections go is that we will hit our limit of miners maybe as early as the end of December.
Oh, cool.
So it is a limited opportunity. But again,
let's go
here. Don't forget, guys, to like and subscribe. We now have 2 SCN Canal Zone channels. We have our backup, but go figure. As soon as we start the second channel, the first one is working flawlessly. So either way, though, we now have the original SCN Canal Zone has been renamed to SCN Canal Zone Channel 8, Fort Clayton.
Yes.
And the other one is, of course, SCN Canal Zone Channel 10, Fort Davis. So either one is always streaming. Make sure you like and subscribe to both of them in case one of them, for whatever reason, isn't working. You're able to just jump on the other one.
Yeah, we changed the password. Now it's working.
You might have been onto something there, Ricky. That's true. I didn't think about that. But
very
true. Very true.
Well, we do have the backup channel, guys. Channel 10.
Yes.
So check it out. Subscribe, hit like, all that good stuff. And Willie, sorry, man, but we got to get Ralphie on.
Yeah, no, of course. He's as soon as he's not even in the green room yet.
He's
so
not in there. He's not putting on his makeup.
As soon as he jumps in, we're gonna get him on here and talk about this 4th bridge, because that is a really big deal.
It's a big deal, guys.
It's been in the news a lot lately, and especially now with there's as is typical in these big projects, and this isn't just a Panama thing. This happens everywhere in the world. Overruns and overcosts, and all of a sudden they've gone from a couple billion to added, almost doubled it in price. And they're cutting back on
double
things,
price. That is correct.
Right?
Double
because
the
now
price.
I heard the latest is that observation deck that they were going to put is not going to be there, or they're going to have that restaurant.
I was looking forward for that restaurant.
Yeah. Well, if there was anything you're going to like about that bridge as a traditionalist and knowing what it's going to do to the Thatcher Ferry or the Bridge of the Americas, at least having that observation deck would have been a cool place to
awesome.
have
and
dinner.
So far, our bridge is staying. Right now, there's no rush to get rid of it. So.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, watch when Ralph gets ready to jump on here, we have a short little intro video for him, and part of that video is somebody filming going over the Bridge of the Americas.
Our old girl.
It is a patchwork, man. Let me tell you
what.
You
know what? She's not even that old. I know. I live in San Francisco, where we have bridges, and our bridges are much older.
I think so.
Yeah. So that bridge shouldn't be considered, old, like decrepit, and it's no.
Well, remember we learned last year that all the steel that they had bought to replace it,
right. The maintenance on it was.
But honestly, when you see it going up there, it is just a patchwork. The road up there, and it's. Yeah, I'm so paranoid of those things. Living here in Tampa Bay, as long as I've been here, they had that Skyway accident here, and that
Zonian Canal Zone pilot.
Yeah, it was, man, and it's just
I
I'm
think
already
the
scared
one
of
that
heights.
hit San Francisco was also a Canal Zone pilot.
Well, it's a little bit different up here.
Yeah, one of our bridges got hit
Got
by
its
a mud
rules and
boat too.
regulations here, and
Yeah.
whatnot. But nonetheless, anyhow, so what else is going? What do you got on the agenda here,
What we
Ricky?
got on the agenda tonight, guys, we're going to start off with this great video, and we're going to do a little Boching news tonight, which is like a short version
Watching
of our Bochincha
news.
segment.
Okay.
And we'll be talking a little bit about those Premios Juventud, and we'll let you know what that's all about. It's big event in the Latin American community.
It is. It's a
There's
huge event.
a new, and I never even knew about this, a new Walk of Fame in Panama.
I saw that. I
Yeah,
saw
it's
that.
pretty cool, pretty cool. And we're gonna do a lot, inform you guys a lot on tourism because Panama is the darling right now of the world, and
It really is.
tourism since November of last year. Okay,
Yeah.
that's almost a year, up 33% in
Nice.
one. That's normally it goes up 3, 10,
Ooh.
12, 33%. In other words, Panama came onto the map. Everybody is going
Everybody
down
wants
there.
to be there. They want to
Everybody
see
wants
what's
to be
going
there.
on there, what this
Yeah,
whole
and
Panama.
we're going to talk to you guys about a little bit about all the tourism that's going on there. And then, of course, Molino. We love President Molino and our Mayor Meyer. We got a little thing on both of them. They're both doing a phenomenal job. And, of course, we'll address all the comments like always. And Willie and I, like always, will banter after our second cocktail. No, kidding, Willie. We're both drinking coffee and water.
Right.
And then after that, guys, we'll have Ralph Furlong come on and talk about the Fourth Bridge and Sosa Hill, and the tunnel. By the way, they crossed the channel, Willie, with the tunnel.
Yeah,
from
and you're
one
gonna.
side to the other.
They
Yeah.
did, but going back to what you said about Sosa Hill, Andrew Midas shot a video and sent it to us from one of the ships, and the perspective of Sosa Hill. You can see what they're doing there because they're moving quite a ways along with that now. They've definitely changed the look of Sosa Hill in a big way. Biggest
At
change
least,
since they let all the damn trees
Yeah.
grow.
At least, guys, if anything, is on the back side. We're used to seeing the front side where Balboa
Right.
High School is on. You can see.
Well,
it
but you
from
know what?
the-
It's a backside from a resident of Balboa and from the school there, right, from the admin and all
Yeah,
that
but
stuff.
La Boca,
But
no.
coming over from the bridge, and yes, in La Boca, you know what it reminds me of now? It is what Ancon Hill looked like in the early days when they quarried it out and created Quarry Heights.
I know.
Remember,
we saw
because that whole
picture,
side of
yeah.
it, that wasn't a natural occurrence. If you look at the original pictures of Ancon Hill before Balboa was built,
It had a big bulge there on the end of the
Exactly.
left. Yeah.
Sure did. It was fully wooded and covered like everything else. And what we grew up seeing with that whole, open face rock there was what they quarried out to create that area, Quarry Heights, and of course using rock.
Admin building, all that was part of that big
Yes.
round,
Yes,
ginormous
indeed.
rock they got down.
And now you'll see in this video here that we'll play here in just a bit that you're getting
doing
that
the same
same
thing.
look of just a whole scarred side of a hill here. But going back to this whole show that we're talking about with Panama and stuff, this tune, it's interesting. A lot of you, especially as Zonians, if you remember music in Panama, but most of us didn't get into the Panamanian music or Spanish music for that matter. Most of us were, we did, but we know like 3 really popular salsa songs.
And this was one of them.
But yes, this one is an iconic tune. But more so, there's a reason for this song itself, because this song is about Panama. And as you know, salsa and merengue is really originated in the Caribbean and in Colombia and stuff.
Puerto
And
Rico,
it really isn't, and Puerto Rico,
Venezuela,
right. It's not really Panamanian per se, as far as the music goes. But, Willie Colon and whatnot is really that integrated Panama into that genre, and this song became just a massive song. So let's listen to this tune real quick, and then Ricky will be talking about some of these things that have been going on in Panama. Yeah, so I mean, again, that's just an iconic tune, but it really is so synonymous of Panama. It really totally says Panama, and again, to Panamanians, hence the reason why they were cheering so loud at that song. Is, it hits the heart in Panama. It's really cool, man. But anyway, dale boy.
Well, guys, a little bit on the blockchain news. As you, Willie, mentioned, this week they had, last night, Thursday night, they had Premios Juventud, which is the equivalent, I would say, of like, what's the biggest music event we have for new talent
Like the
coming up?
Grammy, well, not for new talent. Yeah, that's
Like,
Premios
maybe not the
Juventud. I guess it would
Grammy.
be like the youth Grammys or
Oh, those MTV award type things, but it
yeah,
wasn't an award. But it was a great performance. All the international
yeah,
stars were there. Mark Anthony, but it was mostly to showcase Panamanian talent. And of
right,
course, Ruben Blades, the Rabanes, Sammy and Sandoval. Tremendous
right,
amount of
right, right.
talent coming out of Panama, and they were all performing last night at that Premios Juventud. But that what it did is it just brought the limelight to Panama.
Sure.
Humongous amount of people watched this, and it was the first time they had these awards outside of the United States. So, guys, big news for tourism in Panama. As the mayor, who, by the way, they're trying to freaking recall him. But
That's
I mean, they don't have
absurd.
a
It's just
chance. But the
absurd.
Constitution allows it for
It's politics. Somebody
the
wants a
politics.
gig,
They got to get signatures, but they'll never get to that number that they need.
Yeah,
But yeah, there's a recall for this mayor, which is like the best mayor Panama's ever had. And that's
no
my
doubt.
opinion, of
I mean,
course.
my God, what he's done to that city to
What he's done in
beautify
that
it and
city.
and make it a prominent city that people want to go and visit and be a part of and showcase.
TripAdvisor. It's
Yeah, yeah.
they're just, if you hit TripAdvisor Panama, you'll see what I mean. Unbelievable amount of
Instagram is
information.
ridiculous. The amount of vloggers that Panama is someplace they go to repeatedly.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. And speaking of that, listen, the mayor was the one that got this thing here, and then the president and the mayor have teamed up, and they have come together to understand that what fills up the hotels and the Ubers and the
Right.
taxis and the restaurants are major events. So Panama is going to go into this investment, for a new Copa Arena, so to speak,
Yeah.
to bring in international shows and talent and
Sure.
stuff like that. F1 is now in the conversation. The Grammys is now in the conversation. So
I would I would make it a point to go to that first F1 race if they had one in Panama.
They're trying.
Oh my
Well,
God, that would be
they built
phenomenal.
that track. I don't know if the F1 will be at that track or will be in downtown, but that track is one of the best tracks in Central America right now, or
Yeah.
or
Well, they
Latin
better
America.
take care of that flooding issue because they had that one rainstorm
Yeah,
a
no,
couple of weeks ago.
they had the race the next week, and it was
Okay,
fine.
good. So it worked.
Yeah, it worked. They had
Good,
I mean,
good. The
apparently that
drainage
was like
worked.
a huge storm system.
Yeah.
Well, guys, if you're going to be down there, listen, the most expensive room rates, like right now in Panama, if the better hotels are on Avenida Balboa because of the views, and the most expensive one there, if you remember the Waldorf Astorias in that area,
Sure.
$253 a night. I mean, that's a lot of money for a lot of people, but that's not that expensive, guys. The Hilton, $262 a night, and Intercontinental, $179. Those guys are all on right there on
I mean,
the.
that's a courtyard in Dallas. That's a rate for
Yeah,
a courtyard in
exactly.
Dallas.
Here in San Francisco, that's a freaking motel.
Right.
Costco. Listen, Costco. A lot of people are staying at Costco, and those rates are from $24 a night to $333 a night.
Wow.
But if you stay at
Okay.
that one $333 a night hotel, it's one of the best hotels in the world now.
Yeah.
Sofitel Legend Costco, it's called.
Right on.
And TripAdvisory has a gold recommendation, a little gold seal on it, and they don't give those out. 4.9 on the.
Oh yeah. By the way, somebody is contesting you're the greatest mayor in Panama.
Well, yeah, you're right. You could. There's been a lot of good mayors.
No, that's his
You're
uncle.
right.
We got to give some love to his
No,
uncle.
but it's true. There's been a lot of good mayors. I shouldn't say he is the
No,
best.
but no,
of
in
the
all
best.
honesty, this guy has done
Yeah.
so much to.
He's done
I
a
guess
lot.
if nothing else, to bring back Panama City to what it should be.
A
right?
modern city with
Modern,
technology,
beautiful,
and
a place
and
people want to go
social.
see. And most importantly, Panama, not just the city of Panama, but the country, has so much history that it's one that you really can do so much with, especially again, like you mentioned just now, the tourism, because it is a very historical. I mean, it's the crossroads of the world for 500 years.
Oh,
You know, I
and
mean,
yeah, the part I like the most is some of the highest recommended tours are Life in the Canal Zone.
Yeah.
How we grew up, our way of growing up, our way of living
Who would have thought that our houses and stuff
is
are
now what
$50
people pay to go
off?
see, But really, doing this research, not to brag so much about our canals on heritage, is they got this business in Panama, which is on top of one of the highest buildings in Panama called Point. POIN. Now, TripAdvisor, I put down what is the most highest recommended tourist place in Central America. Boom. This is one of the ones that came out, in Panama. Traveler's Choice Best Award. And what it is in Cinta Costera, the Corredor Sur, like I said, one of the highest high rises there. It's this business, which also has a bar and a restaurant, where you're on a swing, Willie, and you're on the edge with a 500-foot drop, and you're out there swinging.
There's no way I could enjoy any of my meal there.
Oh my God, they got this 360-degree crystal floor.
Get out of here.
It's for those kind of people. It's for that kind of entertainment. But Willie, packed. They got zip lines.
Costera is the area that would have been considered old Panama. When you went beyond the Marriott, beyond Paiti and all that area there is.
No. This is the one right there where the between Paitilla and the Balboa statue, that little strip right there between those two.
Oh, okay. Is that called the Cinta Costera? Yeah. I thought that was on the other side of Paitilla.
First it was called Avenida Balboa, and then they put in that freeway. But it's between those two areas.
Okay. So what's the one that's beyond there on the other side of Paitilla?
You got to ask.
Isn't that the Corredor Sur or something?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay. Somebody will throw it in.
Yeah, sorry guys. I don't go Panama enough like I should. Right. Like my mom always says, I should be there more often, but very difficult. But anyways, though, it's one of the better recommended places in Panama. Point. If you're down there, go check it out. If you think you can stomach this, maybe our age group, Willie's a little tough on it, but all our grandkids and our kids can definitely go check it out. 4.9 on their approval record. I was gonna say Richter scale también. We had an earthquake. We had an earthquake this week here.
Yeah.
So that's what's on the.
And it's Corredor Sur, as McGee said.
But guys, also on tourism, remember there's those $500 digital coupons. So if you're going down there, make sure you go into the government tourism website. You can just put Panama Government Tourism, and it'll pop up. And get your $500 coupons. You got to be staying there at least 3 to 4 nights. So other than that,
everybody that's getting ready to go down in January for the Canal Zone reunion.
Capitan and I stay in that place. Oh, which one? The one in Point? No. Oh, the one Sofitel. Because remember, we're a little bit beyond there. The lag, it's about 8 to 10 seconds. Like I said earlier, guys, tourism is up 33%. In November of last year, they had 173,740 people coming through the Panama. June of 25, so that's not even 6-7 months. 333,000 every month, my friend.
$250,000. That's a lot, man.
Yeah, you put that all together, and Panama's going to have something like, what did I come up? What was the number?
Good time to own a hotel room in Panama. It's a good time to own a restaurant in Panama.
Yeah, where I wrote it down somewhere. Something like 4 million, 4 to 5 million people coming to Panama. Costa Rica,
$250,000 a month.
Costa Rica, which is what's the winner of Central America's tourism. 3.14, 3.2. We're up in 4 now.
Yeah, it took us a while to wake up in Panama to the value of tourism and how to bring it in. Because Costa Rica, no kidding, they were the masters of it. In the 90s, everybody in the United States was going on vacation to Costa Rica.
Yeah, here is 6 million. Yeah. Double Costa Rica.
How about that?
If these numbers stay like that at 248. That's 200,000 times 12. Yeah, that's 6 million plus. Wow, man, that's amazing. Right on, Panama, and hope that the future is as bright as it seems on this show.
Good for Copa Airlines, man. It was really, the other day on one of the Facebook pages that I subscribe to is about Copa Airlines, and of course I follow that very much so. Not just because of my mom, but then myself. I work for Copa at the airport.
Yeah,
and it was really cool because it was an article about when they inaugurated the building, their headquarters building. Which was in the late 70s, I believe. And they had all these dignitaries, and you see the picture front and center. Who's there? My mom. It was really cool to see that amongst all the people, my mom, she played a really integral role in Copa Airlines for all those years. And Nobody would be prouder of seeing that airline now. What it's
Like
become.
you said, when you started, there was only one plane.
That's right. There was one plane.
One plane.
Yes, and
Wow.
they kept that plane very, very, very active. So
Very, very
it's
active.
really cool to see how Copa's done that. They've made it a very successful airline, and in fact, they're hiring a lot more people now anyway. But they're the ones behind a lot of this tourism push because they're saying, "Hey, listen, we're moving to passengers, but they're not staying in Panama. We got to figure out how to get them to stay in Panama." Because they are jumping on our planes, but they're just coming into Panama to switch planes and go somewhere else.
Well, now they're starting to stay because you're right; they never
Yes,
stayed,
correct.
guys. So the government and Meyer, they for this year they're going to have 100. The way they did the math, Willie, is that they figure 100 events in Panama will bring in will fill 310,000 rooms. So that's kind of how they're
Right.
doing the math now.
And that's helping with restaurants. It's helping with Uber, with taxis, with stores, with shopping.
Correct, man.
Yeah.
And Casco Viejo,
Yeah, that's
Casco
a
Viejo,
spread effect from that.
there's a lot of tourism there. It's a
Yeah.
lot of Panamanians also go there. That's a big spot for Panamanians to go hang out.
Yeah.
So that's what we have on the tourism. If you guys are getting ready for January's event, we'll keep you informed of what's happening or before or after. We'll always keep you guys informed of all the good stuff happening in Panama. All right, moving on. The rail to Molino, our good Molino. He's been all over the world. Just
He has. Let me tell you what, that guy has shaken some hands this week, man.
Oh, not only this week. I mean, remember, first he went to the EU, right?
Yes.
And he got Panama out of all those blacklists, and then after that, every European country wants to invest in Panama, right? The railroad, the bridges, the
Listen, everybody
financing.
sees that the world's commerce is going to be going through Panama in the next 50 years, and they want to get a piece of that.
Then he went to Mercosur and got us to be members of it, and now Mercosur is selling more beef out of Panama than McDonald's times 10.
Amazing.
Yeah, and then he goes to Japan and he makes buddies over there, and then now we got the Japanese funding the gas duct and funding the railroad. Right. Now back to the gas duct. Remember last week I got stuck on what is going to be going through that gas duct. Well, I did my research, guys. Sorry, last week I was like petroleum, oil, none of that. It's all ethane, butane, and propane. Those are the three things that are going to be going through that gas duct. And now Molino, after going to Japan, after going to Mercosur, after going to the EU, goes to the United Nations. Yeah. And there he put, of course, he met with presidents of every nation, including President Trump. But more than anything, he got together with Apple, Google, Pfizer, ExxonMobil, Amazon, Visa, Citibank, Warner Brothers. All these people are investing in Panama. $30 billion worth of investment. That's 6 Panama canals of investment.
Right.
Because of the hub. I mean, this is all going to be warehouses and manufacturing and, agriculture, shipping.
Incredible.
Logistics.
What this guy's doing,
logistics. That's what it's all going to be. Shipping,
this
railroad,
planes. A lot of people were concerned when all this stuff went down and suddenly China was getting shunned and moved out of the way, what was going to happen, because like it or not, and what the end result may have been with China in their long term, there was a lot of money flowing in when China came in there. Yeah. Well, listen, it came in with stipulations on it there where now they're out of the picture and the money flowing in isn't coming in with the stipulations. Yeah. Now it's Panama Panama now is calling the shots as opposed to a debt trap calling the shots.
Correct. And Willie, today more news came out on the Trump putting the squeeze on the Chinese in Panama.
Yeah.
The Congress actually asked Secretary of Transportation to come up with solutions to answer 3 major questions. Mm-hmm. But all this, guys, to cut through the chase, bottom line is to get the Chinese out of those 2 ports, because China now backed down and is going to play hardball. Panama says, all right, well, we'll take you to court. And China said, all right, well, you guys are as corrupt as we are, so let's go to court, right? And of course, the Chinese hired the best lawyers they could, and the Panamanian government hired the best lawyers they could. Well, the U.S. doesn't want to wait. So Trump says, you know what? What if the Chinese win? And I want these guys out of there. So he instructed the Secretary of Transportation, and this is all over Panama, and everybody in Panama's pissed off again because it's once again, we're taking over. But this are the 3 things he wants answered. What is the Secretary of Transportation's role in countering the CCP? In other words, if the CCPNs ends up getting the ports,
Right.
how are they? Is America going to invest in ports?
Sure.
Etc. The second one is fair competition for American companies. The United States wants to make sure that
Right.
that it's all fair above, and then if the
Yeah,
Chinese have to stay, let's just do it
out
fair,
recently.
right? No underhanding. Is that us? Is that me?
Yeah, usually.
Yeah, God, San Francisco fire every time I'm on the podcast, for sure, in my neighborhood. And then the last thing is, if this is very important now, if the neutrality treaty is broken, how fast can the Secretary of Transportation take over the canal? Oof.
Yeah. Well,
So one thing Panama has always said from day one: we're not breaking that treaty. My uncle, Almada, all the big people in Panama said, "You don't break the treaty, and there's no problem."
Yeah,
break the treaty, and
very true.
Pretty much, the United States telling you how fast can they take over.
Yeah.
All right, so that's as updated news as you can get, because I got that about an hour before we came on.
How about that? Look at this guy, man, Mr. Last Minute. That's right.
Yeah, no,
not the last minute, but latest, Mr. Latest and Greatest.
I know.
All right.
Well, I love doing.
But Ricky's always connected to that. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I've always loved geopolitics and whatnot. But guys, that's what we have for our Bulching News.
Not bad. Not bad.
It was pretty quick. I like it.
It was concise. It was to the point, and it was good.
It wasn't just all politics.
And it's fun to see, especially when you can celebrate those things that Panama's doing, that they're growing and really becoming a big country.
The is so beautiful.
Yeah, it really is.
They don't blow it.
For folks like you and I that we have family down there, so it's great to see that the country's flourishing like that. But speaking of flourishing, because we do have to move right along, because our next guest he's kind of pressed for time, but we appreciate him taking the time to join us here. He's going to talk about this fourth bridge, right? The fourth bridge going over the canal now. When we were there, it was, I guess you could call it 1.5 bridges, right? You had the Thatcher Ferry Bridge, the Bridge of the Americas, and then you had the Swing Bridge over
the Swing Bridge. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, but it was on and off, and then they all stopped using it all together.
Party bridge for my age group.
Yes, it was. But then, as most of us departed Panama and they started growing and modernizing, and then kind of what we were just talking about here, China coming in and pouring all this money in here. Part of it was to grow that city. What we've learned over the last year or so is that the east bank of the canal on the Pacific side is basically a massive suburb for Panama City. And so the amount of people there that are coming every single day crossing over is just massive, massive. And traffic, of course, it was brutal when we were down there. You can imagine now it's probably doubled or triple that. So, so they've been building this new bridge that's right behind the Bridge of the Americas. If you're approaching from the Pacific, and of course it'll make a big backdrop for the older bridge. There's also a tunnel going underneath right there at the same spot that's going to accommodate rail, the Metro Rail. So it's an interesting project, and Ralph Furlong has spent a lot of time in Panama in the construction arena as a safety consultant. When the new locks were being built, he was down there keeping us all informed. A lot of things there from early construction on all the way through the end. So he's going to give us on a recurring basis updates on this bridge, because it's controversial in the sense that, of course, from the money standpoint, and then what they want to do with it or don't want to do with it. It's going to be the biggest of all 4 bridges, and it's going to be the only one that's going to be a toll bridge. And so the traffic on it is actually going to be less than the others, not by capacity, but by design. And so, but anyhow, he's going to talk to us all about that stuff here. But this is our 4th bridge kind of segment, because this is going to be an ongoing project probably for the next 1.5 2 years at least. So it'll be interesting to see how that changes our landscape. We're going to show you a really cool video from Captain Eftimitis that Ricky sent me that really, like we were just talking about, that Sousa Hill is just amazing how it opens it up. But check this out.
Hello, Gary Ruffy.
What's up, dude?
And there it is. There's that bridge, that 4th bridge, as you can see in that picture there. And there's, of course, Mr. Ralph Furlong from Safety Solutions. Ralph, how's it going, man? Welcome back to the show.
Welcome, Ralphie. And thanks
And
for joining us.
my two good friends. I want to say hello. I've missed you guys. Haven't been on in a while, but a few weeks back we were going to do it, but a couple of technical issues,
Yep.
and that's what
I know
happened.
Ralphie's
back.
golf game. Ralphie's golf game. He's got it down. What's
Yeah.
your handicap now? Like 78?
10.
10.
Yeah.
Ralphie and I always have a funny golf story, and I haven't golfed in a bit with Ralph, but we used to golf quite a bit. And as soon as I get my shoulder fixed, I'll be out there more often. But we were going to go out golfing one day, and I bailed out, and Ralphie hit a hole in one. And so our
He owes us drinks.
well, and it's like, dude, you missed out on it. But and I'm a firm believer in this, that had I been there, we wouldn't have been in that situation. Something else would have happened, and we would have been there later or whatever. You would have been different rhythm, and you wouldn't have gotten it. So as much as I miss it and I'm frustrated I didn't get to see it, I kind of feel like me missing it put you in a position to make that hole in one either way. So
I totally get you. Yeah. I know that happened, and at least I had a witness there with me, and
yes,
the guy that was on the attendant that was there and on that hole. That was like the actual ninth hole before the 10th. He was outside, and he said, "What the heck happened?" And he ran down there and looked, and he's like, "I think your ball's in the hole." And I'm like, "No, it's not." And there it was.
so you have official confirmation from the staff.
Never saw it. That's
hey,
awesome.
awesome.
Going back to what you guys were talking about, the Autodromo, right there in Campana. NASCAR will be there September 13th.
Mexico. Yeah, they were there last week. We talked about it.
The Nations Panama 200.
Yeah, Ralph thinks we're in July for some reason, guys.
Yeah. No, Ralphie, we always talk about it. It's one of the big things.
But no, it's right. I mean, it's they and that's why they put that track there. They said, "Hey, wait a minute, let's bring in some real racing here to really kick it off," because Panama has a racing pedigree from way back in the day.
Yep.
And yeah, that's really cool, man. That's awesome to see. Yeah, because you can't use Albrook anymore. That's actually a used airport now. And like when we were there during the 70s and 80s, there was rarely an aircraft landing or departing there.
Late 70s. Rodrigo Terán won all the races too.
Yeah, Roberto Terán. Right. Remember him? He was the big guy.
All right, but I know
the bridge. Yeah, the bridge and the fourth bridge project. It's a big one. Initially, they had private sectors that were gonna pretty much oversee it, but now the MOP, Ministry of Obras y Públicas, they oversee the whole project. They got their hands involved in it. I know when I was down there, I want to say in February, and I went down there and started talking a little bit about them, saying, you know what, I only see Chinese people here. And then they sent me a big giant letter saying that, no, we have a lot more Panamanians working on the force. What you see is the camp in La Boca where they live, which is true. They do live in La Boca.
So it gives the appearance that everybody there's doing that.
If you go to La Boca and you go to the old MTC where Andrew used to have his headquarters there for the canal, on the right side before you go down the hill, you'll see all the buildings that were there. That's where they stay at, and they have housing there, and they have rented a lot of the houses in La Boca. So that part of the administrative per se and the guys that are techs from China are staying in those areas. Absolutely, that's that part. Okay. And as far as the building in itself, 2 weeks ago they were at 22%. So when we were going to talk about it, that's the advancement they have. Let's
something real quick, Ralph, before you proceed here, because I want to show you guys this video that Andrew shot, and then tell us about, again, remind everybody the purpose of doing this, because this has really changed the face of Sosa Hill. Ricky said it's the backside of it, depending on what perspective. But check this out, guys. There's no volume on it, but there you go. It's the ship is just crossing under the Thatcher Ferry Bridge.
Yep, there you go, guys. They're chipping away. That whole chunk there is going to be removed.
Yeah, they've shaved the whole side of that hill off. And again, a lot of those trees weren't there when we were down there because Panama is a little more tree friendly than the zone was.
They let it grow. I mean, but I know it's called caoba wood, and that's like one of the better woods in the world. Right. So at least it's that, go out.
Sure,
not a bunch of weeds and sawgrass.
Yep, exactly. But that there again, guys, that kind of gives you an idea of what Sosa Hill's becoming. Ralph, what's the deal on that? Why did they shave the side of that hill off?
Well, if you could see the scaling, as they call it, what they're doing there, they're gonna be going down with an embankment, and I think I sent a picture. They're gonna go down approximately 20 meters. It comes back out another 10, and it goes back down another 30 meters. So it's going to look like a giant staircase.
Okay,
Got you,
it's in
got you.
step.
Yeah,
And the
scaling,
bridge
you're
will
right.
cut, and in the lanes, once they do that side of the approach, it will cut through there, and then it'll go straight towards, I would say, the interchange in Albrook. There will
Yeah,
be two
you can see it right there in that. That's a
Okay.
great picture we got there, Willie.
Yeah.
You can see it there. But in a pic, it looks like they moved it over a little bit more into the hill versus that picture.
Yeah,
'Cause-
the initial one was going basically where the fifth, what is it, the fifth Muelle Cinco, if you can see it to the right, is right there by it. That's the place where initially it was going to go through, but they can't go into that sector, so they had to move it over. And that's the new government that did it. The new surveyors had to, inquired about it. And one of the issues, and the big issue, was they never told the people this is what we're going to do.
yeah,
Because
and that's what they're
initially,
going through now.
yeah, initially
Yeah,
when they
yeah,
had the first one, and they do the public assessment, and the public says, absolutely, let's get this bridge going because you're going to be going on that in that way. All of a sudden it changes, and they already had the, as they call it, the visto bueno of the people, and then the people, and they didn't realize that when they did the survey coming here a year and a half ago, it changed and it moved in about 10 meters. And 10 meters all the way towards that mountain, they had to do the scaling of Sosa Hill. And if I was to go on the other side of Sosa Hill right now and do a sound test, you're gonna get around 85 to 90 decibels, about 95 constant with the drilling. What's the permissible limits is 85 in Panama, and
Okay.
up until 7 p.m. But these guys here, they go until 9 p.m. They
What
work on
decibel? What height?
TVs.
What? Do you know the limit that they're at? I mean, the what decibel numbers they're at right now?
I
Over 85,
keep
I think.
asking. I keep asking the
Has to be
neighbors if
past
they can
85.
download an app and they can actually test it, because I'm not there to see it. But
Yeah.
in my professional opinion, when I'm away from one of those, all those drills, and they're digging like that, and I did it at the mines, when I was about 50 feet away, my decibel reading was reading 85, and that's in compliance.
That's in
As you
compliance.
get
Gotcha.
closer, as long as you get closer, it's gonna raise the permissible limits.
Sure, of course.
Yeah,
When
all the
houses are on the
all the-
backside, they hear the constant, hitting. They can hear it, they can feel it. However, if they were to do a test, I can guarantee it's not going to break the 85 decibel barrier,
Right,
because it's
right.
too far away.
In other words, the threshold is rather liberal to begin with. Otherwise, you'd paralyze work.
Yes.
It takes
Yeah,
10
dude.
years to build a bridge.
It's
You'd
it's
be able to
either
work 5
do it or
8
don't
hours a
do it.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Andrew's making a good point there, that this bridge, this picture that you show here, or that we're showing here, was an older design that had the rail line running over it. And of course, since then they've changed that to make it go under the canal as opposed to on that bridge there. So there
That's
may
correct.
be a difference in the amount of support structures below it, because of course much less weight without a rail line on that. So just something to keep in mind.
It's gonna look like that. It's still gonna look like that because it's about
is.
it's about 16 stories high or 20 stories high. Those things are super high, guys.
And you got to realize they are going to build 170 concrete
Piers,
pylons and
pylons. You're right.
170.
Wow.
That's
So
both
That's
yeah,
an
sides
undertaking, man.
west. So that's a lot.
that's
that's
a
a lot of
lot. And
And
look
not only
at
that, but they are going to be building, going up towards the west side, 3 lanes, back towards the east side, 3 lanes, but on the outside of it, there's going to be extra lanes on either side.
for the
So in
future, right?
actuality, there could be 4 lanes, or like they're looking in the future for that train. Could they put a train rail there like they were going
Sure.
to? They could.
Or
could
just
not-
Oh, the
add-
V train, the
Mhm.
V train, the bullet train.
Yeah, well, like here in Tampa,
Bullet,
for example, they just built a
Yeah.
new bridge. The Howard Franklin, they built a new version of it here, and it has a section in the middle. There's nothing on it right now, but it's there for when they do decide to put rail. The
Yep.
infrastructure is already in place. You don't have to take things down and reinforce it. It's already in place to begin with, which is
That is
what may
correct.
be happening here.
Well,
That is
listen,
They call that future proofing. So when you do decide to grow, everything's there. It's minimal cost and minimal alterations.
Yes,
You know.
absolutely.
Now, Ralph,
Absolutely.
something that's been in the news a lot regarding this bridge on the east side, right? And we know from history and knowing what the whole Pacific side of the canal zone was, which is really a lot of reclaimed land. Everything that we're looking at in this picture here in Balboa was mostly swamp. There was mostly underwater. Behind us, if we were taking this picture where Albrook is, that was all swamp. And the same thing on that east side. A lot
West
of that
side.
had to be filled in on the east bank.
Was it
And
west?
well,
East?
we're on the west bank. Oh no, West
Oh,
Bank. You're right. I'm sorry. We're on East Bank here. You're
Yeah,
right.
we're
I
on East.
apologize. You're right. You're right. So on that West Bank, then Ralph, tell us about that challenge with the earth there, because apparently in 100 years it still really hasn't settled, and therefore it's not very stable. And what are they doing to mitigate that or to work around that?
You mean sludge? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Well, the same thing that they did for the tunnel, that they had to really bore it out. So they do have small boring machines like they do for the tunnel.
Mhm.
So with those little boring machines, they pretty much, I would say, like vacuum it out, and then they fill it with concrete. They fill it with macatan, which is like a rock. So
like a gravel, yeah.
they do get a solid base in there for those foundations, and they drill really deep.
Well, for
So
the foundations, yes, but even I've heard from even the entire area that they had to put some kind of reinforced structures. And you know, I know what you're mentioning there. And Ricky and I were talking about this off the air a couple of weeks ago, just in general. When I was at my previous job, we're on the 7th floor, and literally across the street from us, what used to be a parking lot in a field, they were putting up a 6 or 7 story apartment buildings. And they use that technique of, instead of putting concrete pylons, they're made out of gravel. They dig in, they flush it all out with water, and they just pour gravel in, and they fill it with more water. The gravel eventually expands, and they fill the gaps in with concrete, and you have an extremely solid structure, much cheaper, much easier to put in place, less curing time. And apparently that's what they're using out there, because that ground, again, is just not solid enough to hold it on its own.
100%, like we did for the expansion of the canal over there on the north side of Pedro Miguel. We had to do a cofferdam. So in order to do that cofferdam, we had to do the same structure. John Danul came in. They did the dredging. We sifted out all that sludge. We ended up putting in heavy duty rock and mix at the same time, so that we can create the cofferdam. So that we created division from one side to the other, from the old canal to the new canal.
Right.
And that's basically the same system that they did here with John Danul. They came in, they did dredging, they took out the sludge, they submitted with macatan, they submitted with rock, and created a solid foundation there, so they could start digging the columns and the pillars. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, that's
They
a
did good.
huge project. Listen, that
And
project is
look
going
at
to be costing $6 billion when it's over, including the tunnel.
It sure
the new locks cost $5 billion.
Yep.
Right.
So that costs more. Than
And it went into another
set
interesting
locks.
thing. Again, we're talking about this tunnel and that rail line going under there, and that's eventually going to connect with this new rail project that's going all the way out to the
Costa Rica.
the western border, out to Costa Rica. And so we got Noyer Garcia on. Remember, this guy's from the Panama Railroad history. He's got an amazing page and maybe site. Check him out there, guys, because he's been doing a lot of stuff recently with some of this older construction and whatnot. And I imagine down the road, he's probably going to be paying a lot of attention to this new construction, and hopefully he'll be joining us here to tell us about the new rail line in Panama, which it's interesting that Panama's modern history started with the railroad, the Panama Railroad. And now look where it's kind of gone full swing, full circle. And now you got a rail line that's going to go all the way out to Costa Rica. So,
and eventually the Colombia, if we can get that handled. And it's what I love is that the French want to build it like really bad.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting.
They'll take a loss just to get a win in Panama.
Absolutely. Panama is going through some fundamental changes over the last 40 years, and we've been a big part of that. I guess it's almost like the people that were around the time that your great grandfather Ricky was in Panama. That was a big time in a change for Panama, and they're going through some of that right now, where they're really modernizing and upgrading and becoming a place that's for the last 100 years, Panama has depended on the United States and then China in a sense, and now they're kind of saying, hey, wait a minute, this is our stuff. Let us do what we want. Show it to the world, let the world benefit, and we get paid for it. And so It's
And
a cool
there,
time
and
that
the
they're
world
trying
is
to keep together.
embracing, like I said, Mercosur, Japan,
They're lining
Europe,
up.
Panama. I mean,
They're
the
getting
United
in line,
States,
no
all the
doubt.
big corporations.
So, Ralph,
Listen, go ahead.
what's
Sorry.
the ETA on this thing? What is the projected timelines for this project? And of course, you'll be coming back several times to update us on it. But where are they at now, percentage wise, and what is the end time that they're projecting?
The bridge will go a lot quicker once all the columns are in place and it's completed. Both
Okay.
interchanges on both sides will go a lot faster. They want to do both the tunnel and the bridge. They want to try to complete them at the same time at the end of 2028. The tunnel right now is at about 45%, almost 50%.
So about
That
2.5
means that
years.
that means that they went down and they went under the canal, and they're somewhere in the area of the ports in Balboa. So,
Yeah.
but still, they got to go almost the same distance they are now. They got to do almost another 50% to get to where they got to come out. And,
Okay,
But that's
but
past the canal, right? That's like going to be like underneath Balboa, La Boca, like that, right?
like,
All the
gonna
way
go
to
under. Everything's gonna be under.
go under. Yeah,
There's no above rail like the Metro Lines 1 and 2. This is completely under.
yeah.
okay, and let
And
me ask
they're
you this. So they started that from the West Bank and they come across
Yes.
towards. Okay.
That is correct. Yeah, they're under. They've already got under it. The clearance was good, no issues. They're cleared on the other side. They're on our side, on the east side, right there close to the ports underneath. And so now they're going to start coming up gradually. But that's going to take another year to get where they need to go, and then to build out the rails and to build out everything else underneath.
Mhm.
So they're
Which
looking.
But they
probably
have crossed the channel. They
They
have
have
crossed
crossed
the
it.
yeah, the
They have
channel.
crossed
Okay.
it. They have picked up speed. What it was supposed to take 6 years with the new machines they have now and the advanced technology that they added to the machines,
German,
it's
right?
cut in half, 50%. The
Sharp.
German drills, yes, with
German
the new
drills.
systems that they got in place, absolutely, yes,
Interesting.
incredible.
And they're still not sure where it's going to end up at. Is that correct?
Well, on this side, on the east side right here, they're trying to make it on the interchange that's on the east side, closer to Albrook, is where they're trying to get it to come out. Because right there is where the other one interlocks, and then it goes towards the city.
in
That's
the area where Roosevelt and Gaylord highways used to connect.
yes, that one of the things that they were looking at for it to come out was where the airport is, and they were talking
Yeah.
about moving it. So they're
Yeah.
going to try to make it past that. To
Well,
where
they got a
the
lot of pushback on
runway
that.
is.
So
Yes.
Oh yeah, that airport's not going anywhere. Seems
Yes.
like that.
That's
Yeah.
tough. Yes.
yeah, no, there's a lot of things that prevent that. There's a lot of necessity for that airport in its location and what it can deliver.
Mostly
To
medical.
yeah, especially
mostly
the medical end of it and things like
Yeah.
that. So it'll be interesting.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, listen, Ralph, I know that you've got a limited time tonight because you're going out of town. So first and foremost, safe travels for you. But this is something that every couple of months, as progress is moving along, you're going to be joining us and bringing us some more updates on it. So we're definitely looking forward to it. But anything you want to close out with on this or any news on it?
I just know that they on the part of the drilling part for the tunnel, they work 20 hours out of 24 hours. So it's not like they're working 8 hours a day. Just like the expansion of the Panama Canal, that was a
Sure.
24-hour process. There was no 8-hour work days. The
Right.
bridge, on the other hand, is different because it does have a lot of limited time for daylight. So that is a daytime job. It seems like it's a little slower
Sure.
than the tunnel, but they will pick up speed once all the columns are completed.
Sure. Well, and that's also quite visible, so you can see how far it's moving. You have no idea underground what's going on there, and for all I know, it might be 50 yards away today and tomorrow. Whereas up here, I don't see the movement as much. So
That's correct.
You're gonna have that happen. But cool. All right. Well, listen, Ralph. Again, thank you so much. I love this opportunity to keep us informed on something that is really altering the landscape of where we all grew up in a major way. Because that Bridge of the Americas, other than a few angles from the other side of Sosa Hill, you always saw it. Whether you're coming from the causeway or you're coming from Los Rios, you're coming certainly from the beaches, and now, in a couple of years, it's going to be a small piece, and this one's certainly going to overshadow it. It's going to be a much bigger
Half of
bridge,
it, man. It's
and-
not our Mount Rushmore would be Ancon Hill. Sosa Hill also has a big part in our hearts, in the Zonian heart.
Sure does.
More than anything is of our 4th of July's. All our fireworks came out of there.
Right.
And then
Yes.
for all the Balboa, La Boca, and Diablo kids, working our way down that hill on our bikes with something else.
Yeah, indeed. It was part of the fabric of the canal zone. It was one of those things that,
Correct.
as a kid you did that. It was
And
a
the high
rite of
school
passage to go up
students
there. First time you
couldn't.
ever walked up to Sosa Hill and got up there, it was like, wow, this was really cool. You felt
Oh yeah, it
accomplished. It
was
was
a
our mountain, you know.
great, exploring when you were a kid.
Yeah, it certainly
I
was.
mean, and the high school kids with the Balboa High School, they're cutting it out every
Yes,
year.
yes.
So yeah,
Which of
Sosa
course we
Hill's
have on our
big part of
clothing
our
line.
hearts.
Yeah, it definitely is, and it's changing, but for the better. And again, Panama's progressing. So anyway, Ralph, listen, thank you again. Appreciate you coming on and taking the time to do this. Again, safe travels this weekend, and we'll talk to you later, man.
All right, guys.
Take
Thanks
it
for
easy,
having
man.
me on.
Gracias, Ralphie. Gracias.
See ya.
Yes,
All right.
Ralphie, our engineer and
Yeah,
our
man.
in-house engineer.
Listen,
Well,
Ralph did good for himself down in
he
Panama,
was
man.
involved with a lot of the OSHA type of work down
Yeah.
there, and his record is impeccable down
He
there.
was the face of occupational safety and health down there in Panama.
Correct.
You can almost
Because
say
before him, we all heard all the nightmares, stories of people,
Certainly.
and then Ralphie went
Certainly.
down there and brought the OSHA standard, I would say.
Yeah, he definitely
and,
raised the standard of
and it raised the
occupational health there,
standard throughout the whole
without a doubt.
nation.
Yeah.
So that's our very own Ralphie Furlong, man. Right
Yeah.
on, Ralph. Good
Definitely.
quarterback too.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
Zonian, good
Full-on
friend,
athlete.
good brother,
Ralphie's
good
the most
everything.
natural
Good
athlete I've
husband,
ever seen, man.
good
There's
father.
not a sport that Ralphie doesn't pick up, and he does pretty good at it. No matter what it is, the guy figures it out, man.
Hole
He
in
just does
one,
that. Yeah.
10
he-
handicap. He's there, Ralphie.
I remember he called me. He's like,
good.
dude, you should have come out, man. I got a hole in one. The first thing I said was, well, you got to be thanking me, dude, because you wouldn't have gotten it had I gone out there. But anyhow, looking north, the other side, the east end is right next to the current Albrook station of Line 1. Okay. And that's by the mall, I'm assuming, correct?
I think it's over by where the old library is, right? Am I right? Because I think that's what they're going to be making into.
Which used to be the and back in the day, that was the airport. So it's interesting.
Yeah, that was the airport and the library for us. And I understand too that the train to the big train that goes to Costa Rica might use that as well as a Grand Central Station.
Well, that's what they're talking about, and which was one of the reasons why, again, they wanted to get rid of the airport.
Right.
Was because you're one of the pushes with this rail line isn't just to provide passenger transportation. They're making that central part of the country a big agricultural zone, and so you'll have to have a lot of rail traffic coming to the ports there to load onto the ships to get agriculture out that way,
and the other way too, towards Chiriquí, because the border all the ports they're building out there are Muelles and Chiriquí.
Certainly,
I think
it's amazing. Panama is fully taking advantage of their maritime situation, and all of it piggybacks off of the canal because you just have so much traffic going there, and all of a sudden you have a bottleneck for the Panama Canal, and some of that stuff. Well, go to Puerto Armuelles. It's
yes, and that Chiriquí port. That's mostly Mercosur out there. All the agriculture.
Yeah, no, they're going to definitely make it all good.
And Chiquita Banana are also out there. So
right on. Number one line ends at Albrook Mall. Very cool.
Yeah, and then Willie, the whole town of La Boca, man, they're ganging up on this construction project, like Rafi was talking about, all that noise from all that pounding and breaking that rock. But they work Saturday and Sunday, day and night. So guys living there must be just horrible.
Listen, if you look at the way construction goes on in China, remember during COVID where they had a hospital going up in 2 days? An entire hospital, concrete and everything, man. They don't play, man.
I would never go to a house.
24 hours a day, you're working 25 hours.
I wouldn't go to a house that was built in 2 days, man.
No, but I mean, I'm just saying that's the mindset of theirs. It's like you're working until this is done, and I don't care. Overtime, hell, get in there and start working. That's it, man.
Yeah.
26 horas al día.
Yeah, going back to what we were talking about, because I missed Johnny McGee. It's good to have Johnny McGee on with us, by the way, because that guy's always either at the Yosemite or at Yellowstone.
Yeah, he's another one that takes advantage of
he's always somewhere. Well, of course, Johnny and Jeffries are two hardcore guys. They've been to Point, that one place that has the swing and the zip line.
Yeah.
And Johnny puts out, they made him sit in the jump seat. Johnny walks on the ledges of,
No. What he's talking about there, I believe, is what he's saying is he's traveling right now, and then they're making him sit in the cockpit in the jump seat.
Oh, is that what it was? Oh, I thought that had to do with Point, because I was saying, of course, Johnny would go to Point.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what he's referring to.
That's definitely a Johnny thing there. They're making me have to sit on the jumpsuit. I would say that Johnny was probably the kind of guy that doesn't want to be on a jumpsuit when he's out there
no, because
swinging.
it's in fact Chris. Chris works for DHL. DHL is a cargo carrier, so obviously they don't have the route network that a Delta, United, or American has, but as most airlines do, they have what's called interline agreements. And they basically say, hey, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. And so typically with pilots, they sit in the jump seat. So Chris, when he's going somewhere, he'll show his badge, get his interline or whatever. And now he's on a Delta flight with the crew in the jump seat, which is up in the cockpit.
Yeah.
But that's what McGee's doing here. That's what I used to do when I worked for Copa every so often, especially the flights to Jamaica, because they left at 6 p.m. They came back at 10 o'clock at night. And if I was in the mood, I didn't have anything else to do. I knew most of the crews from growing up in the airline. So they'd come in to check in and get ready to leave. And I was like, hey, can I get on a jump seat? He's like, yeah. So I'd put my name as extra crew and I get on a plane and sit in the jump seat. It was great. I mean, you're in a 727 with your headset on, watching the whole flight. It was pretty cool. It's a pretty cool experience. So I love that jump seat.
It looks like your sister has also been at that place.
Yeah, she was there. Yeah.
She was also there. I don't know, man. I'm going to have to go check it out. See, I don't have a problem with that glass I
do. I'm terrified of heights. I can't even see that stuff on TV, dude. Honestly, I can't. I see something over the edge of something in a video and I got to look away, man. It's not even real. It's on TV and I don't do well with heights at all. My knees get weak and it's bad. It is a sheer terror when I get up in heights. I don't care for it one bit. So, but hey, it is what it is. Cool. Well, that was really. I think we're gonna learn a lot. It's gonna be fun to see the progress, right? And next time Ralphie comes on, bring some more pictures and stuff, and then maybe we can backtrack a little and go, hey, this is where we were, back in September, and here's where we are now.
Yeah, and I'm glad we're informing our viewers, Willie, because this is a huge mega project. I mean, it costs more than the freaking Panama Canal, the new locks.
Right. Well, and that's going to be part of the whole getting around Panama when you go down to go to these canals on reunions, is crossing these bridges and using or that metro. If you're gonna stay on the West Bank, because there's a lot of places there to go and stay that you might be.
I can
going
imagine
under the canal.
shopping in Arraijan or Chorrera. I mean, I probably 20-30% less.
Sure.
And they have, modern malls and all that stuff as well.
And how cool would that experience be that you've gone over the canal so many times growing up and now you go back and you get to go under the canal.
And go to a mall out there, eat in Chorrera or Arraijan and come back. Oh, yeah. Jesus Christ. It's going to be good. And it looks like, our retirements are going to be quite good down there.
Sure. You don't like it either. I know, Lori, listen, I'm telling you, man, I look away on TV. If I'm watching something on TV that has a cliff like that, my palms start sweating. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely absurd that even a TV freaks me out that
If
bad.
you go to the Grand Canyon, there's like a lookout out there that has that.
Nope.
And I did it, and it is freaky as hell. But you got to just say no. You ain't gonna fall. If you do, shit, someone's
and
gonna
this
be
is
rich.
what people have told me that the first time they go to the Grand Canyon, you didn't expect it to be so big, right? The pictures don't do it justice. When you get there, you realize that it's what, a cup 5,000 or 6,000 feet, isn't it? Down to the bottom.
But people go on the edge and fall over it all the time. Stupid. Bro.
It's just dumb.
My nephew and niece got close. I was freaking out. I mean, they were like 5-10 feet from the edge.
I do. I get angry.
I was so mad at them.
We went up to a vacation up in Virginia. My wife's family's from up in the Virginia, Tennessee area there, and they have a lot of those haulers, they call it, around the Smoky Mountains and everything. And there's a place called Lookout Rock, and it's like thousands of feet down the drop off. And I wouldn't even go. I stayed in the car, and I made my wife promise me you won't take the kids out there. And then Beckham let it slip later on when we were driving back. He goes, we went out on the rock. And I was mad. To this day, every so often I think about it.
I got mad at my nephews and nieces. Vern, we need to get you back, Vern. We've been talking a lot about the Atlantic side, and we've got some good conversation going on in our chat group about the Eastern, what's that called? The Eastern Channel that we've been talking about.
Oh yeah, the Folks River.
The Folks River, yeah. So we'd like to get you on and talk about that, Vern, maybe soon. In
and my dad, who was on here earlier too, he checked in. He mentioned, my dad, when he started out for Canal Zone Police, he started out on the Atlantic side. So he's patrolled all those streets. He's very familiar with the streets and the locations there. So maybe next time we have you on, Vern, I'll have my dad jump on as well and give us some of the early 60s layout of the Atlantic side.
Here, I got a little questions about the Canal Zone. Where was the first street ever named in the Canal Zone?
How about that? Listen to this. I learned this today from Ricky. This is kind of cool, man.
First street ever named in the Canal Zone was on the Atlantic side, 1907. And then it took them 10 years to start naming streets in the Pacific side and elsewhere. And then we're going to have a little segment on how streets were named in the Canal Zone coming up, you guys. It's very interesting how the rules were set. But definitely they weren't allowed to use people's names other than like 3 or 4 presidents. Everything else had to do with features and
I wonder what I'd like to look up where Barnaby Street comes from. I mean, that sounds like a person's name, but could be different. Or maybe they loosened up the rules eventually.
Oh, you're right, Barnaby Owens. Oh my God, I was reading.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe initially they did, but then after a while they're like, "Hey, man, it's growing. There's too many, you know."
Yeah. I have a big thing on it, guys. That I started doing the research today when I ran across it, like street names in the Canal Zone, how that came across. But we were not ready to. Oh, First Street, Cologne, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of, I really had a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed last week's show with that Canal Zone dictionary, because I thoroughly enjoyed that. You know, I love trivia and love history, and it's kind of cool that Ricky and I don't know the answers. We each are picking out 5 random ones, and maybe there'll come an episode where Ricky will say one of those to me. I'll be like, oh shit, that's on my list too. But we don't know what each other is picking, and it's kind of fun to try and guess those. I like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed that. And that one, to me, that one gave us a lot of Canal Zone nostalgia, right? It really was all about talking about the zone and all that stuff. I actually, was going to, if we needed time, because we weren't sure if Ralphie was going to be able to make it because he's traveling tomorrow. I've been putting out a form or a series of forms on the different Facebook channels. What I'm trying to do with these is I want to create an AI avatar that's an interviewer. And this will then interview Zonians, and they want to tell their story. But one of the keys with AI now, and when it comes to developing these interactive avatars that you can talk to them, and they respond, they engage you, it's the knowledge base that you load it with, right? In other words, you have to, in this case, what I'm doing is trying to create a Canal Zone brain. And so part of that is on some of these questionnaires that I've put out there, like the first questionnaire was, where did you live? And some of the questions, because there's only so many ways you can ask somebody what street they lived on, or what their house was. But I also would ask who your neighbors were, what color the houses were. Because I know, like, for example, where I lived in Amador Road, all those wooden houses that were on the stilts there, they're like 4 different color schemes. They had the green one, the blue one, I think it was like an orange or a brown one. But it was every other house was a different color, all exactly the same house, same shape, but it just had a different paint scheme. So we even asked about that, asked who your neighbors were. And so part of that idea is that when somebody does go and use this Canal Zone interviewer and engage it, and it'll ask you, well, where did you live growing up? And I grew up on Tavernilla Street in Balboa. Oh, were you by the pool there? Oh yeah, okay. So in other words, it has its own knowledge base, so you really feel like you're talking to somebody from the Canal Zone that can really give it an in-depth interview. So it's been a lot of fun doing these interviews and throwing them out there. And so whoever, when you see them, I put them out on quite a few of the different Facebook Canal Zone platforms, the Society page, the Atlantic Side Zonians, CZ Brats, etc. Thank you again for taking the time to fill it out. It's not long, and they're usually pretty quick questions. You can write in some stuff, but we may do something.
Your favorite hangout?
Yes, because one of them was about leisure. Yeah. What places you went to. I even had a questionnaire, which I think will come out next week, on eating. And one of the ways I was presenting questions on it is, was your family regarding Panamanian food? Did you eat Panamanian food every day? Right? Did you eat Panamanian food once a week? Was it just a treat? Did you just never eat Panamanian food? So there's a lot of different things there. But again, it's just to create that persona of somebody that's really a true Zonian that could have these cool interactive.
Yeah, my mom mixed it up pretty good. Our breakfasts were definitely American breakfasts, but our dinners were Panamanian, 100%.
Well, I think a lot of people in the zone, probably if you had a maid, they probably cooked in the afternoon. It was Panamanian. I mean, they cooked what they knew.
Oh, of course, that's what it was. Duh,
right?
Of course. And then, of course, lunch for us. We're always at school.
Right.
whatever our cafeterias had, or
Yeah.
if you went to Balboa, you at the clubhouse. But you know what, Willie? At Balboa, we used to go to the Amador Officers Club because they had
Yeah.
like a little buffet there, and you can make these ginormous sandwiches for like the one price. Like,
That's right.
you know, $1,
Right.
all you can eat. So we would just.
We used to go
You
on
know.
they used to do the Sunday brunches
Mm.
on
Yeah, so
Sundays
it
at the
wa-
Officer Club, and
well, you had to have a
I mean, that was
car,
an
of
event,
course. I
dude. You
had a
show up at
car.
like 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. You stay there for like 2 or 3 hours. You know, some of the dads or whatever go off talking. You know, they're just shooting the shit there, and you're hanging out. But you come back, you eat a little bit more, and then you go and do something, and
Yeah.
you come back,
That's
make
another good
plate.
question. Where was your favorite lunch place at your school? Where, Cristobal, Balboa, or Balboa? Because on Corunda, we couldn't go anywhere. We had to stay right there in that
Right,
really
you had to stay
nice
in the dome, which is
modern
a cool
dome.
dome. Yeah,
That dome, full of asbestos, but yeah, that dome was there.
yeah. No, you're right though. But Balboa, you know where I went a lot because I lived. Okay, so for my sophomore year, because freshman year in Corundu, sophomore year, didn't have a car, so me and Tony DeLuca would go back to his house. Sometimes we'd catch a ride with Paul Rodriguez. Otherwise, we just walk because it wasn't that far. You know?
Yeah.
So, but I remember that we'd go there and his.
I mean,
his,
for us, it felt like it was forever. You take that
Yeah.
walk nowadays, you're there in
Yeah,
4
you're like,
blocks. You're there, you know.
that's
So
all it
before,
was.
yeah, oh, we gotta go through this
That's
house,
all
that
it
house,
was.
backyard.
Yeah. Listen, the zone seemed giant when we were kids. You look at it now, you're like, my God, it's a neighborhood. That's all
I
it
love.
really is.
Every time I go home, I walk. Balboa, the El Prado, the
Yeah.
elementary school. I always walk that, and then go into the stadium and do a lap. Walk a lap or
Sure.
two. I love that, guys. It's hot as heck, but it's worth it, man.
But it is. It's very very
You walk around
nostalgic. It's rich in memories.
The fountain.
It's good for the soul.
Elementary school.
I got to believe it's good for the soul to be walking those streets.
Yeah.
And be like,
No, it is. It is. God, January can't come soon enough, right, guys?
Yeah, end of January. Don't forget, guys. Speaking of, Facebook.com/Canal Zone Reunion is I believe that's what the page is, if I'm not mistaken. But
yes,
they've got a new registration pages and stuff. They got everything's up and running. Don't forget, if you get to Panama in January and you want to sign up for these things, they're probably going to be sold out. The only one you might have some luck getting if you wait till then is the train ride.
And the Chiva Chiva rides.
Well, but those sell out. They're very limited in space. Keep that on. But the train, you got 150, 200 seats. It's a full train. So that's a different one there. But all the other ones, they're small. The canal transits, which I know a lot of people want to do, there's limited space on those boats. And if you're going with your class reunion, you don't want to be going with another group. You want to kind of be going with your classmates and stuff. So make sure you do it early enough. Go to their Facebook page, check it out. Remember, there's a form that Alex showed us that they have a form now. It's all it is your name, I think, phone number and email address. And it's just to stay informed. As they put new things out, they can start, giving you that email. So you don't have to, if you're not somebody that checks your social media on a regular basis, you may, find out too late that it's time to enroll for one of these. So
yeah. Like
keep in
Alex
mind.
said, that reunion is not like the Orlando reunion where everybody's together in one spot for 3-4 days. This one is an experience, a Zonian experience. So you're going to different experiences.
Yeah.
And then eventually, there is a home base. Hi, Margie. There is a home base, which would be that Radisson Hotel.
In
where everybody kind of hangs out.
Correct.
And you can catch.
Correct. But like Ricky says, it is spread out. This is a very much an experiential reunion. Okay. Everything is not everything, but the majority of things are wrapped around an event of some kind, right? And so you will be leaving the facility many, many times to go to these different things, and most of them are going to have limited space. So don't wait. But Margie just put in there that October 1st, which is around the corner. I mean, what's today's date? The 26th.
4 days. 4 days.
Yeah, and on Tuesday or Wednesday, I guess, is the 1st. So make sure by Wednesday you set your calendars on Wednesday. Jump in and book your space on these things, because they will run out. And in typical Zonian fashion, you get there. Oh, come on, man, help a Zonian out.
Or get the stamp and then do that with somebody else and get that. Oh my God, right. How many of those could you do? One guy would pay and then everybody else would give me your hand.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. They're all smudged. Oh, I'm sweating, which you can get away with because it was so humid in Panama that any of your ink stamps always smudged anyway, just from the sweat. So,
God,
it was legit. It was a legit excuse. But yeah, make sure you get those taken care of quickly, guys. And also flights. Make sure you get your flights booked and all that good stuff. I'm looking forward to it. Ricky, you and I have to figure out Friday night because we'll be doing happy hour at the Elks
Yeah,
Club.
we just got to figure out an agenda. What can we
We
do
got-
with all that
we
everybody
get an
around
agenda
us? We
and-
tried it at the reunion, and we didn't have agenda for anything because it was
The reunion. Let's
everybody
be
always
honest, we
talking
winged
to
it.
us.
Here, if it doesn't come out good here, it's totally our fault because we've had plenty of months' notice. So
No,
this is
what I'm
on
saying
us.
is that we have to know what we're going to talk about with so many people around us. What
Yeah.
segments are we going to do? Maybe we
It'll
can
be
ask
reunion
our,
stuff. It'll
our
be mostly
viewers,
reunion stuff.
our
Yeah.
viewers, what would they like us to talk about when we're at the reunion?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll start bringing some stuff up, over the next few weeks to kind of build that out and build.
Let's let our viewers decide what we're going to talk about at our agenda.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun.
What agenda we're going to talk about when we're.
I'm excited. I'm excited to do our first official live gig. Because the one at the reunion, we kind of just, like I said, we threw that thing together last. Hell, we had to lie to
But it was fun. It was fun. I mean, we got the people that were there were they were cool. I mean, I enjoyed that, even though we our agenda went out the door. And
it did, and you know what? Actually, the timing was probably pretty good. I think we didn't have a whole lot more to offer anyway, so they kind of maybe even did us a favor there. But at least we got the excuse that they kicked us out. It wasn't that we were having a lame show.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
They just said you got to get the hell out of here, So. But hey, that's what we do. So, but listen, good show, interesting show, a little bit on the short side, but that's okay. That's part of what we do here. Again, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget now that we have that second channel, SCN Canal Zone Channel 8 and SCN Canal Zone Channel 10. Okay, those are our two new channels, and so make sure you check them out if you haven't already. Real quick, also take a look at our sponsor here. Our sponsor again is Texit Coin. This is a really interesting crypto opportunity. It's not a trading opportunity. It's not an investing opportunity. It's a crowdsourcing or a crowdfunding opportunity for mining. And so something to check out. Every Wednesday now, we're doing live webinars to talk about this. So if you want to check it out, we have that Bucyrus Club is a place you can join on a group, a Facebook group there. There's also a new one that we've created called it's facebook.com/Texit Miners, Texit Coin Miners. Go and check that one out as well. But again, every Wednesday night we'll have a little webinar on this and tell you all about this really, really interesting opportunity here. But check this thing out here real quick, guys.
Welcome to a look at one of the fast-growing crypto projects you've probably never heard of, Texit Coin. In just a year, it's gone from a few cents to over $2, nearly doubling every month. The real buzz comes from the crowdsourced mining network. Early adopters aren't just mining tokens, they're helping build the system itself. Plus, they're being rewarded with more mining power. The growth speaks for itself. From under 3 cents to 20 cents to 55 cents, and by August, over $2.20, all ahead of schedule. The roadmap points towards $16. And here's the bottom line. You're not late, you're early. This is an opportunity to be early, build together, and see just how far the network can go. Most of us missed the early Bitcoin opportunity. I'm not missing the next one. Are you? Get in early.
Yep.
Start producing generational wealth. Texit Coin.
There you go. So check it out. And guys, that surge from that August 2 and change price, it is up above $5. It stayed there.
$5.19 right now, guys.
Yeah, so it's doing really, really well, and it's they're talking about $16 by February, but now they're even upping that prediction to even more. Keep in mind, though, the opportunity to get into the crowdfunding and the crowdsourcing ends. They're predicting in end of December, maybe early January. Once they fill the number of seats. So, if it's something you're interested in doing, don't wait. Don't be a typical Zonian procrastinate. Get it done. I've recouped my investment already, and now at this point, for the next 130 years, I'm producing money for myself and for my kids. So very interesting. But
those of you guys are retiring, take a look at it because it's a little bit of more income for your retirement plan.
Sure, absolutely, and it's something if you decide you want to retire down in Panama or somewhere else, it's crypto, so it doesn't have borders. right? It's not something that's American, and you got to worry about American taxes here and there. It's crypto. It's all
the
international.
future is crypto.
It is. But anyway, guys, thank you again for joining us. Next week, first of the month, Dave Dalton will be joining us. Interesting topic. He's going to be talking about the Japanese and their supposed plans to attack the Panama Canal during World War II. He's been doing a lot of investigating on that, so that should be interesting. Nodia Garcia, we need to get a hold of I think it's Akito. I keep forgetting his name. Maybe he can find out some information and contribute to that as well. But and then again, guys, in 2 weeks, October 10th. We're going to have James Slater, who was supposed to join us last week, will be joining us. I'm really excited for that. This guy's a Grammy-nominated, bona fide country superstar. You've heard his music if you listen to country music. I mean, the names on his sizzle reel are just the who's who of country music, from Keith Urban and Tim McGraw. I mean, you name it.
Reba McEntire.
Reba and her cousin Rita McEntire.
Jamie Johnson. No, these are all big names. Gloriana, Rascal Flatts, Willie Nelson. He writes music for all those guys.
Enrique Iglesias, even. I mean, this guy's he's done all. But before all of that stuff, this guy was rocking and rolling in the Canal Zone with Viva. Okay,
yeah,
so
Mike Little was his drummer.
Yes.
So, guys, if you have any questions for James, let us know next week before he comes on in 2 weeks. October 10th, he'll be here with us, helping celebrate my birthday.
Yes.
Yeah. So, if you have any questions for James, let us know. Like for me, Willie, I'm going to ask him, what in the Canal Zone? That your music is so inspirational. What is it that what in the Canal Zone brought that in? That inspiration in you. What was it? Was it a trip to the beach, or was it a girlfriend, or what was it?
Yeah, no, without a doubt. Because I mean, it's we've seen from George Call and these guys that the rock and roll scene in the Canal Zone, as small as it was strong. There's some really, really good opportunities there. And as it turns out, take for example, Aska and George Call and those guys, they've actually, toured around the world and had the good fortune of touring, down in Panama, and which, I mean, talk about a really, really cool opportunity where you grew up down there, you left there, now all of a sudden you're getting paid by the U.S. government, the military, to fly down there, entertain the troops, and play rock and roll in the zone again. So that was really cool. It was.
We should bring him on soon.
Yeah, we definitely got to bring these guys on. But like I said, next week I'm really looking forward to this guy because it should be a lot of fun.
Hello, Willie. How are you? I am coming to you from Nashville, and I'm sorry, be there this Friday night on your show. I can't wait to be on your show. So we're doing it 2 weeks from this Friday, which is October 10th, coming to you from Nashville, where I live, straight to Panama, mi querido Panama. And I'm going to be bringing you a little Cindy Crawford story.
Right.
I'll be bringing you a little Willie Nelson stories.
Okay, right on.
I'll be bringing you Panama and the Canal Zone, Panama stories, class of 76, Balboa High School, and everything in between. So, I will be there October 10th.
Yeah.
Thanks for being patient.
Right.
That's so exciting, man. I'm excited for it. It's going to be a great time. Again, guys, thank you so much for joining us as always. Make sure you like and subscribe to the new Channel 10 as well. Spread the word, and we will see you guys with Dave Dahlstrom, our Canal Zone historian, next week. Ricky, great show again. Get us out of here, man.
Thank you, everybody, from the bottom of our hearts. We love you very much, and we can't wait to be with you again next week with David Dahlstrom and Willie and I. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Salute, everybody. All right.